We begin with breaking news out of Riyadh. Saudi Arabia says it is cutting all diplomatic relations with Iran. The announcement was made by the foreign minister in Riyadh. It comes in the wake of protests over the execution of a prominent Shia cleric in Saudi Arabia, which then led to the Saudi embassy in Tehran being ransacked and set alight.
These repeated attacks on diplomatic missions is a flagrant violation of international charters and treaties. These attacks were followed by hostile statements from the Iranian regime that encouraged attacks on our kingdom's missions. We consider them as a continuation of Iran's hostile policies in the region that aim to weaken its security and stability and spread strife and war.
Labas Haslani is in Tehran and says Iran is likely to retaliate.
When diplomatic ties are cut, you will see the bilateral action from the Iranian side, and with the Saudis telling to the Iranian diplomats to leave the soil of that country, I think the response they could be expecting could be that the same thing could happen from the Iranian side. That according to some Saudi media, we've heard that the Saudi diplomats have left the soil of Iran and they have arrived in Dubai and they are going back home. However, I need to mention that the Saudis didn't have ambassador to Tehran. They had only chargé d'affaires. The new ambassador has been introduced to come to Tehran recently. But with cutting the diplomatic ties between the two countries, I think that introduction has been cancelled. And we have to wait what will comes up. At least the diplomatic ties have been cut. Whether they will restore relations in near or far future, that will depend upon the course of actions and reactions among these two countries, because there have been escalation in the bilateral relations. The relations have deteriorated after the Hajj stampede which happened recently, and it has deteriorated with the execution of the Shia cleric in the country, which was followed by storming the embassy in Tehran, and things have been much more complicated now.
Well, here's some of the context behind Saudi Arabia's announcement to cut ties with Tehran. Andrew Hopkins has that.
Hundreds of protesters in Tehran demonstrate against the execution of a Shia cleric in Saudi Arabia. The decision to put to death Sheikh Nimr al-Nimr has caused anger in many countries, none more so than Iran, where the supreme leader said there would be divine vengeance.
This execution is really a crime. It is a big crime. It is also a mistake, because his blood will catch up with Saudi Arabia. Without any doubt, the politicians, executives, and policymakers of the Saudi government should have no doubt that this blood will catch up with them, and it will give them hell.
Al-Nimr was a leader of minority Shias in Saudi Arabia during protests in the Arab Spring in 2011. But the authorities in the Sunni-majority country say that wasn't why he was executed. They say he was involved in shooting members of the security forces. Now, because of the outcry, extra security has been placed outside some Saudi embassies, like this one in Lebanon. The country also has a large Shia population, and some were out protesting. And it's home to Hezbollah, a movement closely allied with Iran.
The execution of Sheikh Nimr al-Nimr carries a message of blood to the Arabic and Islamic world. A message of blood and beheadings that says the Saudi regime does not care about the Muslim world, not Muslim sects, nor public opinion, nor international opinion. They are not taking anything seriously.
Demonstrations have also taken place elsewhere in the region. Hundreds turned up outside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, in Turkey, to protest. And in Shia-majority Bahrain for a second day running, as well as Pakistan. But the reaction in the West has been muted, with countries seen as allies of Saudi Arabia voicing concern. The strongest condemnation came from France. It said it deeply deplores Saudi Arabia's execution on Saturday of 47 people, including a Shia religious leader. But anger over this execution has once again polarised the Muslim world and its political leaders, who are already trying to assert themselves on the battlefields of Syria, Iraq and Yemen. Andrew Hopkins, TRT World.